I don't have the luxury like a pianist or a violinist or any number of instrumentalists where my instrument, unless I have broken it, is always going to sound the same, okay? My instrument is my entire body. It's not just my voice box, all right? What you're going to find out about projecting your voice is that it's not just, thinking louder and being louder, okay? If I have an injury in my leg, that affects the way that all of the other muscles in my body compensate and cause tension and get me out of alignment or whatever, to where I have to do something different here in order to get the same kind of sound, okay? So let's start with what's optimal, okay? How many of you have ever heard the term diaphragmatic breathing, or breathe from your diaphragm or whatever? Okay, most of you. All right. So that's a horrible term, because there's another word for diaphragmatic breathing. It's called breathing. Anytime you breathe, it is from your diaphragm. The diaphragm is a sheet of muscle at the bottom of your lungs. It serves one purpose: to pull your lungs down and pull air into them. Okay. So what people mean when they say that is that you want to fill this entire area with oxygen, okay? Have any of you ever taken choir? Okay, so a lot of times, you guys will know especially, your director will want you to take a much deeper breath. They'll always say take a deep breath, or breathe from your diaphragm. What they're trying to do is keep you from just breathing up here. Because if you do this, you cut off half your body, all right? So let's everyone stand up for a second, all right? So first thing we need to do is work on posture, then breathing. Okay, so the easiest way to get into posture, you're going to want to have your feet just shoulder width apart, okay? You want your knees slightly bent. What happens when you lock your knees for too long?
You get cramp.
Not only that, you end up hitting the floor unconscious. That has happened to me. Learn from my mistakes, okay? My life has served as a training manual for others of what not to do, so just go with it, all right? You want your backside slightly tucked in, okay, because you want your whole spine to be as straight as possible, all right? And if you stand anything like me, your spine at the bottom kind of curves out. I like to blame that for all the junk I have currently in my trunk. Doesn't help with all the stuff I got here, but I got an excuse for one of them, all right? So you want your butt slightly tucked, okay? And when I say you want to stand straight up, what's your first reaction? Just do it. Okay, a couple of you did this, all right? That's more standing back. You want to think like there is like a wire coming from the back of your head that's just elongating your spine, all right? If you do this, you're cutting that off, all right? So you want your arms just kind of hanging loose. You want your shoulders relaxed, okay? The reason for all of this is that any tension in your body is going to create some kind of constriction somewhere that's going to cause you to yell more than to just project your voice in a healthy manner, okay? And you're gonna find silly things like, I'm holding my arm over here. Well, now I put most of my weight on this side, so I'm completely misaligned, all right? A lot of the stuff that, and forgive me guys, I got 3 hours of sleep last night, so I may go off in tangents. It'll happen. Sick kid. This whole alignment philosophy is from a thing called Alexander technique. It's a guy that was an actor that was having problems even just talking, losing his voice. And so he went through and figured out optimal alignments for his body and whatnot in order to conserve all of this, all right? And it's way more in-depth than I have the time to get into, but it's something that if you guys want to look up, it's really, really helpful for actors, and more actors than singers use it. I'll say that right now. Okay, so we've got a nice posture here. You want your head somewhat relaxed, all right, and just kind of roll it around a little bit. Okay, now you take a deep breath, and scratch that, hold on. Take your hands, put them right here, okay, like I'm a little teapot position, okay? Should be just above your bottom rib, okay? Your bottom two ribs are called the floating ribs because they are the only two that do not attach to your sternum. That's about what we're talking about right there, okay? Picture your lungs expanding from that point out rather than going down or going up, okay? So take a nice deep breath and just fill that all the way up. You should be able to feel your ribs kind of expand right there, okay? And let it out. Okay? And do it one more time. And out. Okay, relax for a second. Okay. The big thing with breath, you think about your voice, it's like a three-part system, okay? Breath is the fuel, your vocal folds are the source of the sound, and then your head, it's more complicated than just the head, but we'll go with your head is what amplifies everything, okay? So you've got to have plenty of breath, regardless of whether you're speaking or singing, okay? Your vocal folds, they vibrate just like guitar strings, violin strings, a reed or something, okay? That's what creates the sound. And then all of this lovely junk you got going on up here is what creates a space that amplifies your sound, okay? Now what I'm going to go over today is, again, I'm a singer before an actor, okay? A lot of it is the same principle. You're going to have to find time to do this, to modify it in a way to when if you're acting on stage and you're about to do a line, you don't walk up and then give your line. It looks ridiculous, okay? So you're gonna have to figure out ways to be in the optimal position to do these things, all right? So, when we talk about, you guys can sit down for a second. I'm gonna make you stand and listen to me babble on. So let's, for a second, talk about what's going on up here, okay? Your vocal mechanism is a huge conglomeration of tissue, one bone, several ligaments, blah, 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 blah. It's all very technical. I fell asleep during that class, so we're not going to worry about that. I'm kidding. I didn't really fall asleep. You guys are so serious right now. Okay, so once it comes up to about here, which is basically where your tongue starts becoming an issue, you're starting to get into where you're amplifying the sound, okay? Now, what you want to do is create a big enough space in your mouth and just this whole cavity, like even back into your throat, to where nothing's obstructing the sound. That includes your tongue, your teeth, jaw tension, all that sort of thing. Now, what gets ridiculous is when you're trying to do all of that and keep your tongue out of the way, keep your lips out of the way, keep your teeth out of the way, and you're still trying to form words. Because words need consonants. Consonants don't happen with just air. They need your tongue and all of that to get in the way. And this is an issue that, I mean, I'm a 40-year-old opera singer. It's something I still work on, okay? So what you need to have happen is for your tongue to be relaxed, for your jaw to not really interfere in any of this, and that's a challenge in its own, and for your lips to do most of the formation, okay? And when I'm talking like this, I get very animated, especially with my hands apparently. God, I really talk with my hands a lot. And I'm using my jaw way more than if I were in a show or singing. A lot of times I have to start from a place where my face is just absolutely dead. And I mean, we're just talking like that, okay? That is ideal for production. That's horrible for performance practice. So that's another thing that you've got to kind of meld in. So one of the things that I do to start working on getting this going is, you know, as singers and as actors, we warm up, okay? A lot of people will tell you that warming up is just like stretching for a runner. It's not wrong, but it's not complete, okay? The important part with warming up is not so much that you do the stretching to get your muscles warm, because quite frankly, talking does that, okay? You wake up in the morning, you don't have to warm up to talk, okay? As long as you've been talking in a normal voice all day, your voice is warmed up. What the purpose of an actual vocal warm-up is to get you to start using that all in a technically correct manner. I mean, does that make sense? Okay. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, but 9 times out of 10, especially in normal conversation, I don't breathe like a singer to talk. I just open my mouth and it doesn't shut for a while. So, thank you for laughing. It's one of those days today. All right, so the first thing I do when I start warming up is I just start working on breathing, okay? And working on engaging these muscles right here. Your entire body, in some way, shape, or form, contributes to this. but the muscles that you actively pay the most attention to are, who's got a guess? At least. Anyone? Bueller? You've seen that movie?
Yeah.
Stomach? Okay, yeah, specifically your abdominal muscles, but yeah, stomach area, okay.
I just meant to say it.
You have several layers of abs here, all right? And all of them contribute in some way, shape, or form to making that sound happen, all right? You've got that. You've got your pectoral muscles here because they lift the rib cage and expand it. That helps that. And your lats, okay? For those of you unaware of biology, your lats are your big back muscles that kind of, like if you were to flex it, it kind of flares out and gives you that little wing kind of. Everyone know what I'm talking about there?
Yeah.
Yes, good. All right, fantastic. I'm not a biology teacher. So those are the muscles in here that are going to contribute to you having the best sound. All right. My speaking voice conversationally, which is pretty much what I'm using right now, is way different than my stage voice when I'm talking or my singing voice, obviously. Okay. And this has come from many, many years of not knowing what the crap I was doing, specifically out at the Renaissance Festival. Now, you guys worked the Renaissance Festival at least once this year, right?
Yeah.
All right, okay. How many years have you guys done this?
I don't know.
2? Okay.
Two.
All right.
Two.
So,
The Renaissance Festival.
has everyone at least been to the Renaissance Festival?
No.
Wow.
No? Okay. So, let me just describe this
This
to
year was
you.
my first year.
Let me just
Wow.
describe this to you. The Renaissance Festival as a performer is every single weekend for 7 weeks. One of those weekends, possibly 2, depending on if you were unlucky enough to get roped into Kids Day. That's another nightmare. Every single weekend, and then there's a couple that are 3-day weekends, okay? It is, for the most part, hot, dry, and dusty. And there are days when you are trying to talk over crowds, even if they're not watching your show, large crowds that have no interest in watching you, or you have crowds of over 400 or 500 that are just dead set on watching your show, but by the end of the day, they may be a little tipsy, and they don't know how to keep their inside voice inside. So you've got all of these things working against you. You're at the end of the day, you're hot, you're tired, the fatigue sets in. You're working against being in a dry environment. There's no reverb, so you can't hear anything coming back at you. It is literally the worst environment especially for somebody that relies on their voice to make money. Seriously, it's bad. And I can't tell you, for years, I worked out there. I retired from that 2 years ago because I was just done living in my car. So we'll call that 20 years, okay? For, I'd say for 15 years, I really didn't understand what I was doing. Because I have kind of a big mouth. I just figured out if I'm louder, whatever. And when you're a little bit younger, you don't realize you can be doing permanent damage, that sort of thing, and how detrimental that can be. After I'd say about 10 years, I really got sick of losing my voice every summer. After 15 years, I finally decided to do something about it. And it's conserving your voice. It's only using it when you need to. It's not yelling. It's taking that breath. It's making the space here. That stuff is not only going to make it a heck of a lot easier for y'all to be heard, but it's going to add on some years to the end for you too. Okay? So with going back to a warm-up, for me to start out, I start out just with the breathing. Okay, it's the most important part of anything, speech, singing. Without any air, you don't make noise. Okay, or if you do, it's very, very sad. All right, so I'll just start off with a deep breath and let it out. Do that a couple of times. What I'm concentrating on here is making sure that I'm filling up all of this, starting from the middle, and even feeling some expansion in the back. I didn't figure that one out for a while. That's something you don't really think about, breathing into your back, okay? But you want that all to fill up, and equally as important, you want to make sure that your throat has opened up as well, okay? Now, I don't know about you, but when I was your age, I didn't really think I had a whole lot of control over opening up the throat, but you do, okay? It's essentially the equivalent of trying to imagine that you've put something in your mouth that was entirely too hot, and, well, you don't want to spit it out because that's just gross, right? So the first thing you do is just, you're doing this all day. But that's going to create a track that lets you amplify your sound, okay? So, all right, let's try standing up again. I know I babble a lot, so I gotta watch my time. Okay, so now everyone just kind of put everything just down, bend over slightly, everything kind of forward, let it hang, and then just roll up a little bit. Okay, so make sure we're all relaxed here. Make sure you bend your knees, okay? And a big deep breath, and out. It really is best to breathe in through your mouth, specifically for one reason and none other. Breaths through your nose tend to make noise. That's really what it boils down to. It's really distracting to an audience, okay? And not only that, but again, in a situation where you're outside or in a gym with no amplification or whatever, you're gonna want to take in as much breath as possible, and my mouth way bigger than my nostrils. So maybe that's not true for some of you, but and you have my sympathy if that is true, okay? All right, so again, big breath through the mouth and out. Okay, now hands right here, same thing, and just be aware of what your abs are doing, because we're gonna do something different in a second. Okay, breathe in and out. Okay, now this time we're going to breathe in and then we're going to let it out in a hiss. Okay, so demonstrate. And notice how your abs have to engage there. There's really no way to not do it. Okay, big deep breath in and out in a hiss. And blow it out. Feel the difference? Yeah? Okay, I hear some heads rattling around a little bit. All right, cool. Most of that you're going to feel here, all right? Now, the trick is to make that happen when your mouth is open, all right? That takes a little bit of practice. What ends up happening, the reason that the abs have to engage is because your mouth becomes kind of like a hose, okay? You go home, grab a hose, turn on the water, put your thumb in front of the water, what happens? Yeah. It has to increase the pressure to get the same amount of water out in the same amount of time. Your voice is doing the same thing, all right? And that's what you want to do. The more you block that air at a small point, like putting your thumb in front of the hose, the faster it has to come out, the farther it'll go, okay? But up until, but you have to open up your throat and whatnot to get the maximum amount of sound out. Does that make sense? Like you need to block it at certain points, but not everywhere, bless you. So,
That was a sneeze. Yeah.
something squeaked over there, I don't know.
Sorry.
What ends up happening is you have to think about a few different things. You have to think about, one, engaging your abs and your core. You have to think about moving the air constantly, okay? And you have to think about what is technically referred to as subglottal pressure. Does anyone have any clue what I mean by that? Excellent, all right. Real quick biology lesson. Your larynx, your laryngeal area there, the very top of it is a piece of cartilage called your glottis, okay? It opens, it closes. That's its purpose. Its primary purpose is to keep food out of the wrong hole. Let's just leave it at that. That's probably the best way to describe it, okay? Whenever you make a sound like that, okay, that is your glottis doing that on your vocal cords, all right? There is a good way to do it and a bad way to do it. The difference is very subtle. We're not going to practice those because if you do them wrong, it ends up just tiring you out and doing some damage, okay? But the glottis, you want to build up that pressure underneath it. It takes a little getting used to do that, okay? We may or may not figure out how to do that throughout the course of the next 20 minutes. So, the next thing we are going to think about here is what I always called the ping. Okay. Now, what the ping is basically where we visualize the sound resonating. Okay. So for me, whether I'm talking or singing or what, I've gotten to the point now to where I am constantly feeling vibrations like here, okay? And the reason for that is simply because of like a visualization and whatnot. It's what Italian singers back in the times of Mozart, go ahead and sit down, sorry, called bel canto or beautiful singing, okay? And it is a method that allows, for some reason, I've never understood this. The biggest difference between opera singers and musical theater has nothing to do with style, technique, or anything. Theater uses mics. Opera does not. We have the same size orchestra. And now in theater, in some theaters, you're competing against mic'd instruments. That makes sense to me. But there are times when you're not. You've got an entirely acoustic orchestra, and you're still up there, you're mic'd. And quite frankly, opera houses are generally bigger than theaters. So I don't get it. Whatever. I go to school at the #1 musical theater school in the world. They all use mics. Really? We have the same voice teacher. But what we have to do as opera singers is figure out a way for our voice to cut through that sound of the orchestra. Okay? Because when it boils down to it, one trumpet can drown out a human being quite easily. It can drown out several human beings very easily, unless we're doing things right. So what I'll do to start vocalizing, I'll just start with humming, okay? And it doesn't have to be anything specific, but you want your lips closed, and you really want to, like, sometimes even to get that ping going, I'll just put my hand right here. And you want to have your nose vibrating so much it annoys the crap out of you. Right? If you're not doing this, you're doing it wrong. Okay? So we can do this sitting down. Just sit straight up. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Right. Okay. Deep breath in and just on that note. Okay. Just or whatever. Okay. Okay. Hands right here. That's almost a chord, not bad. Okay, everyone kind of feel that there?
Sadly.
Okay, all right. So, what's
They're
that?
not us.
Good. That's good. All right. That ideally will never get less annoying. Okay, trust me. All right. So I do that. I do it very lightly to start. Okay, because you don't want to start out making huge sounds, especially at younger age. Because you'll just wear yourself out super quick, okay? Make sure this is all full. You want to get that ping, and then you go from just humming to then you start adding vowels in. You still started off with the M, okay? The M keeps it right here. So like like that, okay? So, and I have done some ridiculous things in my voice lessons. I spent 20 minutes mooing like a cow once. I may subject you to that. I haven't decided yet. And this is not like, you know, my freshman year of college. Let's see what we can get the freshmen to do that doesn't know any better. No, this was like last week. Okay. My voice teacher, love her to death. She has some bizarre metaphors, but they all work. Okay. So all right. So same thing. Hand right here. Okay. Deep breath and just at your own pace. Go. Okay, stop for a second. All right, so let's everyone stand up.
I don't think I did it right.
Now, one thing you have to do is to keep your air moving. All right, it is so easy in the middle of your range, like where you guys are, to not constantly connect the air to your sound. Okay. And this is a really weird, like, out there concept because your air has to be moving for you to be making any sound, but it's not quite the same as connecting the breath, okay? So, this is what we're gonna do, all right? We're gonna start right here. Let me do it with my left hand. All right, gonna take a breath. We're gonna do but you're gonna have this hand, you're just gonna kind of sweep it across like this, all right? Like you're painting a picture, like you're drawing a bow on a cello, okay? But picture your breath as that motion, okay? Big breath in and that's, yeah, you should sound like monks. Okay, this is a voice projection class, so you gotta give me some volume here, okay? All right, I know you're very shy, this is very weird. You have no idea who I am, I just came in off the street, he doesn't even know me. So.
Who's shy, not I.
I figured that one out. All right, but don't be afraid to make some noise, okay? We're all doing the same silly thing, so it's not like one person's gonna sit there and go, okay? That's not gonna happen, because that person's gonna look dumber than you if they do that, okay? All right, so now, same thing with this gesture, all right? Picture your grandma who has like 3 hearing aids for her 2 ears out in the, yeah, it could happen. Out in the very last row, who just came to hear their darling little grandchild sing and go, isn't she talented? Or she, as the case may be. All right? That's, basically, that was my mom. I did an impression of my mom right there, okay? But it's not going to hear you unless you're putting the sound right there. And you've got to push the sound through your nose, okay? Just through this area right here, okay? Big breath, hand here, and go. Feel that right here. Good. That was way better, okay?
You done?
All right, what's that?
Was that all?
That was it for that.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, no, that was way better. Okay. Sit down for a second.
Get on my chair.
All right.
No, get on my chair.
Did you all feel that here?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm starting to get warmed up now too. God, that's killing me for a minute. So, ideally, what you're going to start feeling inside your mouth is you. How do I put this? Okay. As far as the anatomy of the inside of your mouth goes, everyone understand what your soft palate is?
No.
No.
You're gonna explain it.
All right. Yes. Yes. One part of the top of your mouth. It's the part that's not the hard palate. Guess which one's which?
What, all the way on that?
Yeah, that's the soft palate. There you go. All right. So, and your hard palate's obviously up front. Okay. Your soft palate is that thing that's going to raise up when you have like the hot food sensation back here. Okay. That's your uvula.
Yeah, that word.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say a bad word. So
The speed bag.
I don't know, but I'm bad at words, so I'd just rather not.
I didn't want to break out an F-bomb, so I didn't say uvula. What?
It's true.
What is my life right now? Okay, so your soft palate will lift up, and what you're going to feel is that vibration. It's going to start right where the soft and hard palate meet. Okay? All right? And that is going to be, that's what's going to shoot through from here to here and keep on carrying. All right? So, let me think about an exercise I can do here. Okay. Sorry, that's something important. Apple Watch, technology. I get really excited about text messages now. Okay, so let me think. A line, any line, spoken line.
To be or not to be.
Ew!
You know what's funny is that I had thought of that and like, that's way too cheesy and cliche.
That's abuse, though.
Yeah, that's huge. All right, so what we need to do is we need to apply what we're doing singing-wise, okay, to what we're doing speaking-wise. Now, what I will do beforehand, this is kind of like the barking like the dog exercise. Now, Worf. What's wrong with your dog? So,
I'm sorry.
being a male with a lower voice, we tend to have different vocal warm-ups than other voice parts. Some things will work for all of you, though. Okay. One thing that I will do is barking like a dog, or it's like a caveman grunt. It probably will sound more like a caveman than caveman and dog coming for me, but I'm not even kidding. I'll walk around my house, my 1.5-year-old just gets so confused and be like, what are you doing? But I'll just do a, like that, okay? All right? And, exactly, okay? But the thing is you can tell how much louder my voice just got, and I'm really not putting any more effort into it, okay? It's all because of placement, because of air, okay? So, this is gonna be your best Tim Allen impression, okay? Concentrate on getting it right here, but take a deep breath, and then just go, like that. Go.
I'm not good at this.
Basically, that is it, okay? And it makes a difference if you got the open throat, if you got this all relaxed, and you got the air, it's the difference between the sound coming all the way up and through, then starting from here. I can't even go back to like normal just everyday talking, okay? But it's not causing any strain on my voice whatsoever, okay? So what I would do as a stage actor is I would, before I got on the stage in a rehearsal or anything, I would start off, honest to God, walking around, rolling my head, rolling my shoulders, and just breathing, okay? And getting my mouth into a shape that is good, just to make it just a generic sound, okay? So, I mean, essentially you're walking around like that, like almost like you're like walking through a freezer and you forgot a jacket. It's too cold to like that. It's the best analogy I got on the spot. Okay, and you want that breath to be open in the mouth, and you want it to be quiet. Okay, if you're making noise when you inhale or exhale, something is in the way here. Okay, so you've got to make that wider. Okay, then just go into humming. And you can even like just pick like a note, all right, and just like chant your text. So if it was to be or not to be, I would take a breath, to be or not to be, like that, okay? And now obviously you're not going to deliver it like that. I mean that would really just make that line even worse. But it's the same process though. Whether you're doing jazz, rock, maybe not rock, but musical theater, opera, and just spoken text in a classical manner, the technique is all the same. It's all exactly the same, okay? All right, let me think of some exercises here. Okay, first of all, does anybody have any questions whatsoever?
I don't think so.
You don't think you're a spokesperson?
Yeah.
I mean, according to Fuchsia, I am.
Might as well.
She,
No, we don't.
Y'all good?
that's my director.
I
Everything goes through her.
I can see that.
I don't think she leaves.
Yeah, it's like